Update!
And it's been another week, and I'm still fancy. But I tossed a hoodie on over it. What do you think? Fancy cash? Fancy cash? I realized I did not make any New Year's resolutions this year, and yet I have been losing weight, I changed the way I dress, and I switched from Firefox to Chrome. It's like a whole new person.
Finally!
Okay.
What's the Chrome bit?
Yeah. Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
I love you!
You're far fancier than a peanut gallery. You're like the honey roasted almond gallery.
Yep.
Delicious. This week I want to talk to you about change. I've been thinking a lot about movies and the way that the industry fluctuates cyclically because of the people who grow up on one thing. When they get into the industry, they want to kind of recreate what made them excited about that thing when they were kids and teens, you know, when they were discovering it, and they kind of want to make that feeling. That's why in the 2000s, it's like the 80s. That's why in the 2010s, it's like 80s meets 90s, you know? In the 90s, it was like 70s, you know? So it's people like hearkening back to what they were interested in. And that leads to shifts. I think about the movie industry all the way back. By and large, what was popular was like musicals, mysteries, westerns. It's all like entertainments. And sure, you can thread some stuff in there where people can see a little bit of themselves in it. But then the big shift came in the 60s and 70s. When a group of young filmmakers started picking up cameras, cheap 16mm stuff, you know, and started shooting their own stories that were very much not like what the studio system was producing, right? So then you get this kind of like fast and loose, Easy Rider kind of feel to stuff, which, like it or not, changed a lot, alright? Studios were like, oh, this is what people want to see now. They glommed onto it, captured it, put it in their thing, and then grittiness. Grittiness was in the studio system. Coppola, Scorsese, Friedkin, you know, you've got these guys who are out there, Hopper, guys who are doing like really edgy stuff, really gritty stuff, dark stuff, and that's what people are like, okay, that's what everybody wants, let's give it to them in the mainstream. So then you're making really dark, edgy stuff on 35mm with a little bit more of a studio look, except for all the handheld stuff they were doing, doesn't matter. You get past that, big sea change, alright? Lucas and Spielberg come out and start making blockbusters. Also changed the way marketing happened. You were looking for the big opening weekend with Jaws. Biggest release. Movies used to be like released at a few cities, and then they'd get, you know, they'd travel. Those prints would travel. And Jaws was one, like the first movie where they put it out on a gajillion screens at once with a big marketing push. Changed everything. Now, movies marketing costs way more than it takes to make a movie. I was listening to them talk about this on the Movie Crypt. People don't want to make a $3 million movie anymore because you still have to spend $20 million in marketing, and a $3 million movie has to then make $23 million to start getting into the black, you know? Like, it's in the red until it makes back its money. And that $20 million in marketing really holds back the chances of a $3 million movie making its money back. Then you got stuff just dropping to VOD because they don't want to do a big marketing push on it to get it into the theatrical. There's no point going theatrical unless you've got a big marketing push to get people into the theater, because people have to travel. People are looking for stuff at home, they can find it on VOD, alright? Now you got people who are established artists making movies of their own, telling stories that look good. David Cross just has something up on Kickstarter this week to get his movie theatrical. He's kickstarting a theatrical release of his movie. After the big blockbuster movies came into fashion, the 80s kind of rode that wave for a while, and you got your Ghostbusters and you got your, you know, your big comedies, big budget comedies. You get your Tarantino. You get your Tarantino going. Smaller, again, big, the young guy, again, captured. Oh, this is what people want. Young writer-directors with a very auteur vision. And you pull them into the studio system. Now those are the guys at the top, alright? Now you've got guys like Paul Thomas Anderson and David Fincher making studio movies, like Fincher always made studio movies, but he has a very specific vision. Tarantino, studio movies with studio money. I was talking so excitedly that I forgot an entire step here. I'm Goldbluming here. I'm just so excited about this. That was an Eliza joke. Actually, I just stole that from her. But then you've got Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, Iron Man, and Dark Knight giving birth to the new bigger blockbuster. It's like the mega blockbuster, and so now you can't make a movie that goes theatrical for under like $150 million. And in order to market a $150 million movie, you have to spend $150 million. So now you got $300 million on the line. They probably spend even more, actually, on marketing. Because like they start marketing like the Avengers like a year and a half before it came out. Remember, like we still have 11 months before Star Wars, and I've been hearing about that thing for eons. I have clearly had a lot of coffee today. Now, what is the new shift? There's supposed to be a group of young guys coming up that the studio system grabs and pulls up into here to make their movies. But that means that the next guys, the young guys, the people who are doing something on their own need to be doing something with their own vision, a new vision that's different than the mainstream. But all we're trying to do, all this group of people doing stuff on our own, is make something that they would recognize as something they're already doing, you know? We're trying to make it look like the things that they're already doing, so we get pulled up. And why would you pull that up? You've already got people who can do that thing. You gotta do your own thing. Like Pops. I made Pops because I thought it would be more commercial than all the other ideas I had been making before it. About serial killers living with girls and a group of wacky characters and, a plant nursery. I was trying to be more commercial. And when I look at short films and everything on the internet, when I see like awesome websites tweeting out short films and stuff, what it is stuff that's already out there. It's approximating a look, a feel, an idea of something that's already come before. Alright, you're seeing like awesome sci-fi shorts with a lot of special effects. That's what's in the theaters right now. You're seeing people who are making films that look like throwbacks with like grain and stuff, throwbacks to 80s action movies. Because we think that's what everybody on the internet wants to see. And by and large it is. Where's the new stuff? Who's doing new stuff? Have you seen any? I would like to know. If you see somebody doing something new, I want to know about it. I want to see it. Let me know in the comments. Very interested. I mean, kind of like James Gunn came out of he did Guardians of the Galaxy. He came out of the indie scene and Trauma. I don't know if you guys know what Trauma is, but it's messed up. Pulled him up. So I guess it's still happening, but the movies that they're making are no longer personal visions. They're just rehashings of what we actually had 20 years ago. I just want to know what's next, you know? I was talking to Craig about this, and I just can't see what's next. And we're not supposed to see what's next, he says. We're just supposed to find what we're passionate about and do that. And whether or not the big they, the money they, decides to put that on a larger platform is up to them. All we can do is be satisfied with what we're making ourselves. I hope you guys have a good week. That's the Pops logo. Take it easy. I'm sorry, that might have been like a lot of information that you don't care about, but it's what I've been thinking about.
It's interesting.
Oh, she thinks it's interesting. Why don't you guys? Have a good week.